Welcome back, everyone. So yeah, not opening up with a song, I see. Oh, boo-hoo. So what is this on the screen? Maybe some of you are wondering. Well, somebody took it upon themselves to feel that, we all needed to know that their opinion of, hello. How's it going? Good to see you. So somebody left a comment on one of the live streams. They wanted all of us to know their opinion, that they felt that, which I find this very, very interesting. Because I did give opinions based on the articles that I was reading, but they're news articles. They're reports about what are happening in our times that we live in, and that has to do with current events, social issues, and political ones too. Political things happen, and people feel some type of ways. Maybe some people are for them, and a lot of people are against them. Who knows? But this person says, just more partisan, tribal, divisive garbage. So I don't know, like this. I don't know what this person means by that. Like, I don't know if this is like a left-wing person saying that we need to be talking about the core issues of socialism and making sure that we get socialist policies into the United States, into our politics right now is a core movement of doing that. I don't know if it's a right-winger who means anybody who doesn't agree with MAGA is just wrong. And that seems to be the MAGA mind frame. But I thought it was interesting because I started wondering, what would content look like if any of all the people on YouTube, all the people across social media, if they were to make content, what would content be that it is not politically divisive? I think, honestly, the only answer where you could get anything that is politically not divisive would have to be things that are descriptive laws or rules, like the laws and rules of nature and physics. And honestly, even then, as a core tenet of most authoritarian governments, they like to attack those things, because if our descriptive laws of understanding reality and the world and reality that we interact with on a daily basis don't coincide with their agenda and their beliefs, they don't like it. That's yucky. That's poo-poo science. That's where you get these people saying, like, oh, the elite academics, they want you to believe all this, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter that it's coming from, like, thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of different researchers in their respective fields across the globe that have nothing, like some of them do have to do with corporations, some of them don't have anything to do with corporations, some of them have to do with the major universities here in the United States, others have to do with universities in other countries, and that's called peer review. But it really made me wonder, like, from a logic and critical thinking perspective and standard, is it even possible to create or make content that is not quote unquote partisan, tribal, divisive garbage? I don't think it can be done, other than talking about, like I said, descriptive law, like something that no matter where you are on the political spectrum, which the political spectrum, some political scholars would say is 5-dimensional, not just 4-dimensional, which is where you have your egalitarian left, your hierarchical right, and then the top is authoritarian, the bottom is anti-authoritarianism, more traditionally known as liberalism, not libertarianism, liberalism. Then there some say there's a 5th dimension to that, between liberal and conservative. I mean, if we were to make content or discuss anything anywhere on social media that wasn't quote unquote partisan, tribal, divisive garbage, it would have to be descriptive law, like something that no matter where we are on that spectrum, be it 4 dimensions or 5 dimensions, that we would all say yes. One example I can think of: water exists. That's not politically divisive. We all anyone who does not understand that water exists, I would say, is being irrational, illogical, and possibly even delusional. We know water exists. We need it to survive. I don't think that's politically divisive. But if we get into descriptive reality, that climate change is happening due to global warming, oh, well, that's politically divisive. Now we've stepped upon science that is really, really inconvenient to certain think tanks and politically charged groups of people. So they don't want to talk about that. That's poo-poo science. We don't like that. That stops us from drilling for oil, like coal mining, using fossil fuel energy. Like people want more green energy because of that. Like, oh, we don't like that, or it's just scary because the thought of one day that it could get so hot the moment you step outside of your house you could burn to death. I mean, I don't know, but that it doesn't matter. That is the consensus across amongst multiple disciplines across the scientific spectrum. That has become politicized. Or we could start getting into descriptive reality about sexual orientations that we know exist. That's going to be politically divisive, despite it being descriptive law. That we observe this within nature. We observe this within the human animal. We observe this within various animal species across the entire animal kingdom. So that's politically divisive, despite it being descriptive law, like descriptive fact. I would say maybe chemistry. Maybe we could talk about chemistry. That's descriptive reality. That's describing our reality, what happens with molecular structures, until you start getting into things like vaccines, which has a lot to do, and medications, which has a lot to do with biochemistry and molecular structures. That gets politicized as well, despite it being descriptive of the nature of molecules and what they do and how they work, how virology works, and all that. So you could talk about chemistry up to a certain point. Certain topics would automatically fall into political divisiveness, because as this right-wing authoritarian experiment is going on, like I said, authoritarian regimes in general tend to not like any kind of science that goes against their motive and their agenda. They don't like it. And that's where they want to shut it down. They want to silence it. They want to say, oh, it's academic elite. it's a conspiracy theory, it's a this, it's a that. Ignore it because it's an inconvenient truth to what they want. Like, for example, with white supremacy. The white supremacists can sit there and talk about how BIPOC are different than white people, and I don't know however they want to rationalize that, but they do that. They do it. They bring out these pseudoscientific studies. There will tend to be this small handful of people who actually have PhDs, like scientific doctorate degrees, that have talked about race realism or other stuff, and then ignore the thousands and thousands and thousands of others that have peer reviewed it and said this is garbage, because they want their race realism pseudoscience to be real. So anything that comes in and says, well, good news, actually, you know, between any two given human beings, the most genetic diversity you're going to find is only 0.01%, meaning we don't have a lot of genetic diversity at all. And they don't like that. That's inconvenient for them. That they go, no, that's poo-poo. That means we can't be racist. And it's like, well, that's right. That's what it does mean. I'm sorry, you can't be racist, but not really. You just shouldn't be racist. Like, even from just a humanitarian perspective. But descriptive reality of our understanding of genetics and everything, like, I mean, I had some white supremacists tell me once in the comment section. They said that if I got one of those ancestry tests, that they were secretively putting black genetic markers into people's test results. And he goes, and I think we all know why. And I'm like, no, I don't know why. What motive would they have to do that? Why would they do that? The thing is they don't like the descriptive reality that when we look at human beings, we're all descendants from Africa. There's really, really old fossils. I'm not familiar. I'm not like paleontologist or anything like that. But to my understanding, there's like these fossils, thousands, if not millions of years old, and they've done DNA tests on like the bone marrow or something like that, and they've unveiled some of the like genetic codes from these, and turns out us human beings today have specific genetic markers that are found within these fossils of early hominid species, like basically like some of the first Homo sapiens. Like we haven't changed really significantly at all. I would not be the best person to talk about that. That's out of my range of practice, my range of knowledge. But as far as logic and critical thinking, philosophy and deductive reasoning goes, that's what I find interesting. Like, I'm pretty sure it's just a troll. And I don't want to debate trolls, but I just thought this is a really interesting concept. Like, the question that it really gets to is, what exactly is not partisan, tribal, divisive garbage? What does that look like exactly? Can you give me an example? And I can almost guarantee you pretty much every single example that would be given could be perceived as he put it, as this person put it. I don't know if they're he or she. As this person put it, partisan, tribal, divisive garbage. Even if they started bringing up right-wing content, well, I could say, well, you say that's not partisan, tribal, divisive garbage, political garbage. But it is to me, because I don't carry those positions. I don't carry those values. I have different ones, meaning that it is partisan, tribal, divisive garbage politically. It is. Uh, so I don't think that would work as an example. They might say that they could use an example of saying, I don't know, punk rock. Well, I don't know. Is there punk rock that the artists who make various like these various genres, do they not incorporate aspects of their values and principles into their artwork, regardless of what the art is, be it music, be it paintings, whatever? Do they not put those aspects into their art, to where we have some kind of understanding of what their values, principles, morals, beliefs are? And is there not within punk, within goth, within country music, within just pick a genre? Is there not artists within each genre that have different positions, different principles, different morals, different values that align with some form of political ideology? And I would say yes, that's why you have Nazi punks, it's why you have fascist goths, and it's why you have socialist goths, anarchist goths, punks, so on and so forth. I mean, we could go on forever. I don't want to do that. Now, maybe we could say music overall as a thing that exists, a descriptive claim. Music exists in this world. Is music inherently, I would say, like as it, like just all the genres, the fact that music exists, is that partisan, tribal, divisive garbage? Is it politically? No. That in and of itself is not. But I would dare to say that the various genres probably do fall into that category. You know, that's why you have tons of MAGAs all over going like, oh my God, Rage Against the Machine is woke, which is really bizarre because by their definition of what they're calling woke, of how they're using that phrase, has never really truly clearly been defined what they mean when they say that. But Rage Against the Machine has always been pretty far left wing. They've always been that way. That's not new. It's apparently new information to them. They've been listening to them all these years and never knew it until now. But that's how Rage has always been. And, it's why you have people on the left going through Reddit and having people collecting names of bands that are quote-unquote problematic because they have fascist ties, fascist beliefs, problematic behaviors towards women, towards the LGBTQIA plus community, and so on and so forth. It's because there is political division in that. There is, as he put it, I'm going to quote him again, partisan, tribal, divisive garbage. I don't think you can escape this easily, especially with prescriptive conjecture. I don't think you can escape this so-called partisan, tribal, divisive garbage. I don't think you can. Unless you solely stick to descriptive reality, which is mostly found in STEM sciences. And even then, you are going to run into like scientific reality that does not fit the narrative of ideological principles that some people have of like what they think of traditional conservative values. We are finding within our reality don't really quite match up to that. Like a lot of theocrats, they say homosexuality is a choice, blah, 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 yeah. There's tons of things that they say. They say a lot of horrible things about trans people too. And they say that, even biological sex is not a binary, but like when you start talking about intersex people, it's like, well, it's not a binary until it isn't. It's binary and except for these ones that don't fit into the binary because they're intersex. So you catch them right away that in descriptive reality, we understand what they mean when they're even we understand it as bigotry. We understand what they mean, but they don't seem to understand with descriptive reality that what they're saying isn't actually descriptive of the actual reality we are experiencing. Especially when they say something stupid like trans people don't exist. It's like, but they literally do. They literally do. In their bigotry, they say, well, but you can't change your biological sex. Well, but that doesn't negate that trans people exist, and that's what they do is they change their gender to match the sex that they feel internally. That exists. That's real, and there's even examples. There's examples of people changing biological sex naturally without any human intervention. It's a type of intersex that exists. That's interesting to me. But that's descriptive reality. That exists. We can't say it doesn't exist because it exists. We observe it. We see it. And we go, oh, well, our understanding of reality has changed because we are observing something that our previous understanding, that the way that we described it, doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't account for this thing over here. So even if you stick to descriptive fact, I think you're still going to run into things that that many on the far right will take issue with, even though it is merely describing the nature of reality as we understand it as best we can. Which is why it constantly changes. Because the more that we observe about our reality, the more we go, oh, we were wrong about this, actually it's this. And the more we learn, the more interesting our reality actually becomes, the more stuff starts getting added in it, not taken away. All right, so I think this is just a troll, though, and I don't want to feed the trolls. I don't want to feed them. I don't care about them. This is going goodbye. So, last time I did the live stream, I was talking about how the ranchers, the American ranchers, were going to get hit really, really, really just kneecapped by a tire iron because of Trump and what he was doing with his arrangement with Javier Milei in Argentina for the beef. He's trying to get the cost of beef to be lower by buying Argentinian beef, and the only reason why that's cheaper to do is because of all the government cutting that Javier Milei did caused their currency to collapse, which is currently beginning to happen to the U.S. dollar. Actually, the U.S. dollar is starting to collapse. It's very scary. We could not. It's possible. I keep saying this. It is very possible. I'm not going to speak with certainty because I do not have the ability to see the future. But based on trends that we're seeing, based on the model before us, and my personal understanding of how things have worked historically, to the best of my ability, it is possible that we are not just looking at recession, that we are going to be seeing a depression. And one of those really big warning signs is the fact that our dollar is losing value. It used to be that very rich people, billionaires and stuff in other countries, would back up currency in U.S. currency because it was a reliable currency to do so. That's happening less and less, which means the American dollar is basically worth toilet paper. More and more centralized banks are carrying less and less U.S. dollars and carrying more and more gold and silver, which means the American currency is declining. The amount of inflation we are seeing, like pretty much if we continue on this path of let's cut all the government programs, let's get rid of all the oversight, the regulations, the guardrails, the controls, all the stuff, like basically the rules and laws that capitalism has to follow, and do this like anarchical capitalist libertarian thing. If you want to see the outcome of that, like, well, look at Argentina. So if we keep doing that here, Argentina is pretty much a model of what the United States will be facing and looking at moving forward into the future, which Trump himself has been asked about that. Like when he was asked about the ranchers here in America, that he was asked by a reporter. A lot of ranchers feel that, you pretty much spat in their face. And it's very insulting. It's going to hurt their business. It's going to hurt the American economy. Now the ranchers are pretty much in the same position as the farmers in that they're going to go bankrupt. It's very possible they could go bankrupt. And they're going to face all these problems. And Trump's response to that was that people in Argentina are dying. And then, he gets really condescending and says, "Do you know what that means, young lady? Do you understand they're dying?" And it's like, do you understand, Trump, that the reason why Argentina is in the situation it's in is due to policies and things that Trump personally with Musk has done here in the United States as our economy continues to skyrocket out of control. The farmer suicide rates are up. Tons of them are looking at foreclosures, at bankruptcy. Now ranchers are in the same situation. We could lose health care for millions of Americans that could result in about 50,000 deaths per year if we don't do the continuation of the ACA tax credit. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is gone. You really have no consumer protection against hostile corporate interest at all. It's really not even there. So these companies can pretty much do whatever they want to us, and it doesn't matter if we can't afford it. This could result in many people living on the street. Massive homeless crisis, which we've been experiencing already. Homelessness has been growing by about 12% every year. So if Trump keeps on the road, like basically Argentina is like looking into the future. It's what could happen to America if we don't stop it. And sure enough, after I read the article and gave my 2 cents about that, my opinion, now the ranchers are coming out and saying, this is really, really, really bad. This could bankrupt us. This could cause foreclosures. This could ruin us financially. This could ruin our careers. People have had ranching in their family for generations, just wiped out, gone, poof. And Trump seemingly doesn't care. So, he cares about the people in Argentina and doing construction on the White House for some reason, which I'm very curious. How on earth does somebody come up with blueprints for a ballroom that houses 900 people in such a short period of time? Even if he was planning this since January, when he was sworn in, most plans for a building like that take a year, if not 2 years, of blueprint making before they start construction. Which means either he's been planning this before he got his just knew, oh, I'm going to be president. He's been doing this for years. He's been planning this for years before he was even running the second time. Or it means he's just winging it, which means the building will not be up to code. It will not be weatherized. It will not be built to withstand the climate and weather and even the ground, the soil, the type of soil that they're building it on. Good luck with that. It air duct planning for central heating and cooling and like air circulation, escape routes, exits, how to make sure that it would contain a fire. Like if a fire happened, that it would stay localized. It'd be easy to put out, that it wouldn't spread to the rest of the White House. That you would have emergency exits, the wiring, the duct system, the plumbing system, the sewage system. Is it gonna have access to internet and cable? Where are they running those lines? I mean, there's so many questions that go into what they do when they make blueprints. Is it structurally sound and stable? Are we doing like X's? Are we doing pyramids? Are we doing suspension holding? How are we making sure that the flooring, the other pieces of architecture or whatever that are going into the ceiling and the walls or whatever, that it's not going to collapse? Those are all things that go into planning these things. And from what it sounds like, no, there are no plans. He's just winging it, and that means it's very structurally unsound. It means it's not up to code. And this could be a very dangerous building for 900 people to be in. Possibly even dangerous to the White House. Fantastic. Not really. And the fact that he's doing this, this is one of the reasons why it just makes it so hard to even you don't even want to talk to right-wingers anymore. It's like everything that they've made as an argument in the past has just been, they've rolled over on. I mean, what was all the whining and complaining and protesting and violent acts and the things that they did over historical monuments when it came to Confederate flags, Confederate statues and soldiers and blah, 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 blah. And now suddenly, that was all about preserving history. So we were told. And now he's destroying one of America's most important historical sites, and everybody is like, and like I said, I have not, like I said in that live stream, I have not heard shit from MAGA. I have not seen any MAGA supporter come out and say anything, whether they're for or against it, anything about what he's doing to the White House. So I still seem to be correct in that prediction. Someone may have made a video and I just don't know about it. Maybe one hasn't gone popular yet. Maybe somebody has. Maybe they haven't made one yet. Maybe it will happen in the future. I don't know. But if it's not about preserving historical artifacts, like they were arguing with the Confederate statues and the flag and the Confederate flag, which the actual historical artifacts were preserved and put into museums, and the ones that were just kind of built more modern and were just kind of there, that they were taken down. So, but if it's about preserving history, if that's not what it's about, what was it about with the Confederate stuff? If it's not about, because you're either concerned about preserving American historical artifacts or you're not. Oh, but there's a middle ground, and that middle ground is that, well, you're only concerned about American historical monuments, artifacts, what have you, when they're Confederate. Which would mean you're not a patriot. Which would mean this whole blustering about, oh, it's about, it's not really about America's history. It's specifically history on Confederacy, which they will say that's their heritage. They will say it's hard. It's getting harder for them to make. Actually, I don't know anyone that would believe them at this point if they say it's about their heritage and not about racism and bigotry. At this point, that's very hard to believe, and you would have to make one hell of a compelling case for someone to believe that now, considering everything that's happened. But they've shown many things. They used to say free speech was important. Well, apparently not. They used to say the founders and the Constitution was important. Well, apparently not. They used to say that preserving American historical artifacts and the founding of this country was important. Well, apparently not. A lot of things that they used to argue to be important, they've backtracked on. Trump has done the opposite. They've made excuses. They've backpedaled. And it's just gotten to the point where it's just like, what like, I don't know that you have any, like, I think the only values and principles that they have is they're angry, bitter, hateful, jaded people who like to see the people that they hate hurt. Even if that comes at the cost of cutting their own leg off and causing themselves pain, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, at any cost. And it's like, how do you argue logic and reason with somebody who's being irrational, with somebody who's seeded with just unrequited irrational hate like that? What are you supposed to do with it? I don't know that there's anything you can do. All right, that's sort of my opening preamble, I guess. So we will go to the articles, and yeah. So these are all already again in the description. All the links to the articles are in the description. So if you want to go and read them for yourself, you can. Highly encourage people to read their news. It's a good idea. I don't have very many today. it seems like things keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and people are very, very terrified. There's the whole thing of like people may not get their SNAP benefits next month. And I saw this lady, Tizzy Ent, showed this video of this woman saying, "Oh, you're worried about not getting your SNAP benefits in the month of November? Well, or wait a minute, what are we in? Are we in October? Yeah, in the beginning of November." She said, "Well, here's a question: where's your SNAP benefits from last month?" And that says to me pretty quick that that person does not know how social safety nets work, because most people, there are a few, there's a very, very small minority of people out there that get benefits where it's like, why on earth do you receive that? Most people don't, though. The people I know that are receiving food stamps, Vision, SNAP, it's only like 56, actually it says on here, $56 a month. I've seen up to $200 a month, but again, that's rare. It's not an amazing amount of money. And even if you're living off water and bread and rice, it's really hard to shop, as this woman put it, smartly. I don't know if smartly is a word. I've never heard somebody say smartly. I think she needs a thesaurus, but I don't think you can. It's very difficult to do. I've been on food stamps before, but when I was on food stamps, things were a lot different. And I mean, I wasn't able to buy things I necessarily wanted, but it was enough to get what I needed for the month. But people are now, like, a lot of people are receiving like $56 for food stamps. It's like, look, even if you're doing that off of water and bread, well, the food that they bought with that's long gone. They've already eaten it. It's gone. And these people just do not know how these social welfare programs work. They are not designed to lift you out of poverty. They are designed really to kind of stagnate you and keep you from becoming homeless. It's you will live a life of poverty, but you'll be able to survive, and that's kind of how they're designed. So, the Social Security cost of living increase will go up by 2.8% in 2026, which translates to an average increase of more than $56 for retirees every month. Why is it that the retirees get all these benefits? Like, my generation won't be able to even retire. And there's this generation of people that is just sucking up, that is, if you are a millennial, your entire life, there are specifically two generations, and not Gen X, but there are specifically two generations who have been voting in a way that strips any ability for us to really gain any traction in equity or building building some kind of wealth. And that generation just keeps sucking all of it up, making things worse and worse and worse. And Gen Z is going to be even worse off than the millennials. Unbelievable. Like, I don't know why they get to do this. And well, I mean, there's different price or different class variations within those who are retired. My grandparents seem to be really well off, while I've seen other people who are not so well off where they actually have to go back to work to survive. Agency officials, okay, yeah. The benefits increase for nearly 71 million, so not even all, just 71 million Social Security recipients will go into effect beginning in January and increase payments to nearly 7.5 million people receiving supplemental security income will begin on December 31st. Friday's announcement was meant to be made last week, but was delayed because of the federal government shutdown. The cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for retirees and disabled beneficiaries, okay, so they're doing it for people who are disabled too, okay, is financed by payroll taxes collected from workers and their employers up to a certain annual salary, which is slated to increase to $184,500 in 2026 from $176,100 in 2025. Recipients received a 2.5% cost of living boost in 2025 and 3.2% increase in their benefits in 2024 after a historically large 8.7% benefit increase in 2023 brought on by record 40-year high inflation. Oh my God, I think this is something that the Biden and Kamala Harris administration did. I remember there was something that Biden and Kamala Harris did to expand on Social Security, and I wanted to remind myself of it because it was scheduled. There was something really good that the Biden and Kamala administration did that was really, really, really beneficial to Americans. And the reason why I wanted to put a pin in it somewhere was because it was set to take place during Trump's administration. And I didn't want people to get the opportunity for Trump to take credit for something. He did not do this. I don't think this goes back to 2023. I think this is a Biden and Kamala thing that is trickling into where we're at today. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what this is. I'm pretty sure it is. The smaller increases for 2026 reflects moderating inflation. Social Security Administration Commissioner Frank said in a statement Friday that the annual cost of living adjustment is one way we are working to make sure benefits reflect today's economic realities and continue to provide a foundation of security. And see, that's the thing. A lot of these people who hate these things, they don't understand. It's just a foundation of security. That's it. Emerson Sprick, the Bipartisan Policy Center's Director for Retirement and Labor Policy, said in a statement that cost of living increases can't solve all the financial challenges households face or all the shortcomings of the program. Yeah, like the fact that in my disability case, the only people saying I'm not disabled are the disability judges. Like, literally the only person. The latest COLA announcement comes as the Social Security Administration has been navigating almost a year of turmoil, including the termination of thousands of workers as part of the Trump administration's efforts to shrink the size of the federal workforce. Trump administration officials have also made statements they later walked back that raised concerns about the future of the program. The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in July that the Republican administration was committed to protecting Social Security, hours after he said in an interview that a new children's savings program President Donald Trump signed into law is a backdoor for privatizing Social Security. And that's something that's getting annoying. Like, if you are a millennial, you've been hearing this your whole life from the right wing, is that like, oh, privatization makes everything better, but every time They do privatization, deregulation, and get rid of the controls and the guardrails and everything. Things don't get better. Everything around us just keeps getting more and more expensive and ridiculous. I think that's why younger generations are, being more radically left-wing, because this doesn't work. If you make it privatized, it becomes about profit, and we're screwed. I mean, it's never worked. It has never worked that way. Privatization, deregulation has never made the people, like the working class and everyone else, it's never made things easier or better for them. It's actually made it worse. Worse customer customer care goes down. Treatment of employees goes down. Benefits goes down. Pay goes down. And then all these, everything goes up. Utilities goes up. Rent goes up. Healthcare goes up. Just everything. And they keep saying privatization, it makes everything like better. Like these companies will just act in good faith and do the most humanitarian and ethical things, and they never do. That's never what happens. Never, ever. I don't know how to say that guy's last name. However you say that, I had to walk back comments that the agency is considering raising the retirement age to shore up Social Security. Raising the retirement age is not under consideration at this time by the administration. It's already been raised once. I think everything's being considered, will be considered. He said, and raising the retirement age was a possibility to maintain the old age program's solvency. In addition, Social Security Administration faces a looming bankruptcy date if it is not addressed by Congress. The June 2025 Social Security and Medicare trustees report states that Social Security trust funds, which cover old age and disability recipients, will be unable to pay full benefits beginning in 2034. Then Social Security would only be able to pay 81% of benefits. Social Security benefits were last formed roughly 40 years ago, when the federal government raised the eligibility age for the program from 65 to 67. Okay. Going on to this one. Another U.S. strike in the Caribbean targets alleged drug running boat killing 6, Hegseth says. So, we bombed another boat. I don't think I have to say too much about this. Like, we just keep doing this. What do these people say?
Drug trafficking in South America.
Last night, we reported that the president's attacks on suspected drug boats have widened from the Caribbean Sea.
The problem that they're not saying, and I don't, like, this was broadcasted by CBS, and I don't see them saying, the problem is they're not presenting any evidence that these boats are carrying drugs, that they're drug smugglers. There's no evidence. None. It's just, trust me, bro. That's what it is. Just trust me, bro. No evidence. Part of me even wonders, is this even working? Like, he's supposedly trying to get, like, the amount of drug trafficking to go down. Hold on a second. Let me see. Let's see if there's an actual change in this. No. Let's just do... Okay. So here you go. Sadly anymore, we can't trust the CDC because RFK destroyed our credibility on the entire world stage. So CDC and NIH is no longer a credible source. But according here to Canada, a total of 1,377 apparent opioid toxicity deaths have been reported so far in 2025, January to March, of which 95% were accidental. According to the CDC, which is hard to trust, but they're saying 76,516 drug overdose deaths in the United States. This is an AI overview. I don't know how much merit you can put into that. Over the preceding 12 months, this reflects a significant decline in overall overdose fatalities compared to 2023, with a reduction of nearly 27% in 2024 alone. The CDC reported that the total drug overdose deaths, 68% involved in opioids. So this is just drug overdoses in general. It's not even just fuck you for being disingenuous. That's the problem I have when they're just saying drug. No, opioid. Specifically, opioid. Yeah, it doesn't... I'm not going to dig through this all day trying to find what, how many people have been reported to have overdosed on an opioid this year. Because if they keep it vague by just saying drug overdoses, what do you mean, like Tylenol, over-the-counter stuff, prescribed things that aren't illegal, things that are illegal, not so opioid things like people who overdose on like cocaine or methamphetamine, something, by keeping it vague and ambiguous, they can make it seem like drug use is insane and crazy and tons of people are dying. But a lot of people, their minds go directly to fentanyl. It goes to opioids. But there's nothing in here that specifically, that I'm finding, that specifically talks about opioids. So, but Canada did. Canada reported it. Specifically, see here, they mention specifically opioid toxicity. Vast majority were accidental so far in 2025. Good for you, Canada, for being transparent and not using cute little tricks like this of like, oh, just say drug. Don't let them know that we're talking about Tylenol. So, then I also chose this one. I'm just kind of curious what what other people think of Trump's weird renovations out of nowhere that, you know, have blueprints and everything in a matter of a month. When Chelsea Clinton lived in the White House as a 90s tween, she knew it was the people's house. Now the 45-year-old daughter of former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is unsettled by President Donald Trump tearing down the historic building's East Wing to make way for a $300 million ballroom. In a USA Today op-ed, Clinton concedes that past presidents and first ladies have made changes to the White House that added elements of efficiency for comfort and aesthetics. But she said there is no evidence that the president consulted with experts to preserve the history and integrity of the building. With less than a year until we celebrate the country's 250th anniversary, it is unsettling that such substantial alterations to the 225-year-old People's House are being undertaken without a historic preservation I'm sorry, I just saw the giant star thingy, and I was like, is that something that Trump did? It looks like it's something like, see the historic East Wing from its Thomas Jefferson origins to the modern White House. Okay. I think that's a Christmas decoration, I'm hoping, because I hope that's not something Trump put on there that's permanent, because it's gaudy. It looks gross. Being undertaken without historic preservation review and seemingly without the involvement of any historians. And I would love to be proven wrong here, Clinton writes. The East Wing traditionally houses the First Lady's offices. When Hillary Clinton had an office there, she worked to increase funding for research and treatment of cancer, AIDS, osteoporosis and juvenile diabetes, and chaired the task force on national health care reform. The entire wing, where former First Ladies Eleanor Roosevelt and Laura Bush worked too, was demolished this week in a reversal of earlier renovation plans. The White House first released the plans of the 90,000 square foot ballroom on July 31st. Trump, at the time, told reporters that the addition would be built over on the east side and it will be beautiful. Oh, that's subjective, Trump. Not everyone might think it's beautiful. The new construction follows a drastic renovation of the White House Rose Garden, which prompted backlash and elicited comparisons to the president's ritzy Florida property, Mar-a-Lago, earlier this summer. The center section of the rose garden, which was covered with grass, was replaced with stone tiles and picnic tables with umbrellas. Given the widespread public rebuke to the cementification of the rose garden and its apparent recapitulation as the Rose Garden Club at the White House, and the outrage at the demolition of the East Wing, I am clearly not alone in feeling unsettled. Oh, that was something that Clinton was writing. I was getting confused about that. Okay, so, okay. She was right. That's what she was saying. Clinton in her op-ed says that while Trump has the authority over the White House grounds, it always requires stewardship. Stewardship, she writes, requires transparency, consultation, and accounting for history. What's being dismantled today isn't just marble or plaster. It is a reflection of how easily history can be erased when power forgets purpose. Then I also pulled this article. Inflation climbs to the highest level since January, and talks about the beef prices soaring. So beef is going up even though we started buying from Argentina anyway. Isn't that fun? What do these people say?
Consumer prices rose 0.3% in September, which drove the annual inflation rate to 3%. This report is coming out later than normal because of the government shutdown, and it's the last significant economic report before the Fed's policy meeting next week. ABC Business reporter Alexis Christopher is here to break it down for us. So, Alexis, what does this mean for us day to day?
Day to day, we're paying more for a lot of the basics, Diane. That's what this report shows us. Inflation now up 3% year over year, well above the Fed's target.
I'm sorry, but that was kind of funny. She was like, well, it means that we're all going to be paying a shit ton of fucking more money. What do you think it means? That's kind of what I took from that. Like, So wait, yeah. The White House touted the September inflation numbers coming in below economists' expectations on Friday, with Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt posting on social media that they were good news for American families. Yeah, we haven't seen good news for American families in a long time. Yeah. No one should be shocked. No, this shouldn't be news to anyone. If you exist in this country and buy food or been to a store, you know that, yeah, prices of, like, on everything have just blown up. I mean, they've gone crazy. This one is really fucking interesting. Because I happen to remember a time during the Bush Jr. administration who wanted to go after the wildlife reserves in Alaska for oil. And the reason why we didn't do that and why it pissed a lot of people off to where he didn't do it because of all the backlash was because it would cause a lot of native animals to that area to go extinct. Like, it would just fuck everything up. So of course the Trump administration wants to do it. He doesn't care. I'm guessing we're gonna have the AI read this one. Just give me a break from
Trump
scrolling
reopens
and stuff
Alaska's
for a
Arctic
minute.
coastal plain to oil drilling. The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in Alaska Bloomberg, the Trump administration is opening the entire coastal plain of Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to oil and gas leasing, reversing a Biden administration decision that put the pristine wilderness area off limits. Most read from Bloomberg. 1. Pritzker slams Chicago mayor's plan for tax on big payrolls. 2. What a 1970s commune in Arizona got right about desert urbanism. 3. Cruise ships show South Korea's struggle to host global leaders. 4. American roads are paved with inefficiency. 5. The eternal reinvention of the American downtown. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum said Thursday the agency was opening the 1.56 million acre of tundra on the state's north slope and holding a lease sale this winter in the nearby National Petroleum Reserve. It's the latest move President Donald Trump's administration to boost domestic fossil fuel production. This land should and will be supporting responsible oil and gas leasing, Burgum said during an event at the Interior Department's headquarters in Washington Thursday. The refuge's coastal plain is estimated to hold billions of barrels of crude. But many oil companies have been reluctant to target the area, given the high costs. Environmentalists and native Alaskans argue oil development in the region risks imperiling Arctic foxes, polar bears, and caribou. Drilling in the Arctic refuge is reckless, Bobby McEnany, a director with the Natural Resources Defense Council, said in a statement. The market has said no, banks and insurers won't back it, lease sales flopped, and taxpayers are left holding the bag. Public lands must serve people, wildlife, and a livable climate, not host a fire sale for fossil fuel companies. Read, Biden to cancel Arctic oil drilling rights sold by Trump. During Trump's first term, Congress lifted a 40-year-old ban on energy development in the refuge in 2017, mandating lease sales. President Joe Biden canceled leases sold in 2021 and barred exploration in more than half of the nearby National Petroleum Reserve. Not a single company opted to bid in 2 additional lease sales in the region mandated by Congress and held just days before President Joe Biden left office. Oil industry representatives and Alaska officials, however, complained the lease sales structure discouraged bidding from the start. The Interior Department also said Thursday it had brokered a land exchange deal that would allow construction of a contentious road through southwestern Alaska's Eisenbeck National Wildlife Refuge. Adds details about planned lease sale in second paragraph, road construction in last paragraph. 1. I want to win, inside Gavin Newsom's plan for taking on Trump. 2. Dead dolphins and diverted cash sink Cancun theme park operator. 3. SBACs are back, and Mega is fueling their growth. 4. Why everything from perfume to soap smells like food now. 5. Inside the credit card battle to win America's richest shoppers. 1. Trump keeps oil permits moving in shutdown, halts renewables. Ari Netter. October 1st, 2025 2 minutes read. Bloomberg, the Trump administration plans to continue issuing permits for oil drilling and do other work on priority conventional energy projects during the government shutdown but will freeze activities on some renewable energy projects. Most read from Bloomberg. 1. NYC's transit system raises fares, tolls as MetroCard nears end. 2. The Interior Department, which oversees energy development on federal lands and waters, is furloughing thousands of workers but will keep processing permits for new oil and gas projects, coal leases and other energy work, according to its shutdown plan. The department's Bureau of Land Management, which oversees about 245 million acres of public land, said staffers handling those issues are exempt from furloughs in part to address a national energy emergency that President Donald Trump declared earlier this year. The agency has scheduled dozens of oil and gas lease sales in the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska and will continue work on those plans despite the shutdown that began Wednesday. Its Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, which expects to furlough over 70% of its workers, said it will use carryover funds to keep employees working on priority conventional energy projects, including offshore drilling permits and a 5-year plan for selling leases along the outer continental shelf. Work on renewable energy projects will cease, according to the agency, which has oversight over offshore energy development. The department's Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, which plays a key role in permitting new offshore wells, said it planned to keep more than 2/3 of its 560 employees working. The Bureau's mission and statutory authorities are imperative to the administration's priorities, it said in its shutdown plan. Critical operations, if disrupted, would cause significant and irreparable damage to the nation's energy supply, national security, stakeholders, and the public. The moves reflect Trump's broader push to bolster fossil fuels while scaling back federal support for renewables, a strategy that has shaped regulatory rollbacks, tax policy, and energy permitting. While the 1870 Anti-Deficiency Act generally bars agencies from spending money Congress hasn't approved, they do have some discretion in deciding what's essential during a shutdown. Trump made similar choices during the 35-day shutdown in his first term, ensuring work on permits to drill on federal lands and waters continued. By contrast, former President Barack Obama canceled at least one oil and gas auction and halted federal drilling permits during a 16-day shutdown in 2013. Terms and privacy policy. Privacy dashboard. 2. 3.
Yeah, I don't think Trump is going to care about preserving that land, and that'll be really, really sad. And as it mentioned in the article, the animals that could go extinct from such a move. What do the comments say? Let's read comments. Oil companies have always backed off from drilling there. It's too expensive, and right now oil is selling cheap. They won't spend the money. That's really sad when the oil companies that Trump is trying to make money for are the ones holding the line and saying, no, we're not going to be the ones that drill there. This person is talking about having plenty of places to drill. We have plenty of new, innovative, and cutting-edge technologies that we could be using instead of fossil fuels, and really cutting back on how much of that we use. But no, using new, innovative, and advanced technologies is woke. So I guess that's just where we're at. Yeah. Wee. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Like I said, all those articles will be in the description. If you joined and you watch it later. Whoever sees it, I don't know if anyone does. I'm a nobody. I am nothing. I know nothing. I am the master of nothing. You know anything about philosophy, you know that is a good thing to remind yourself of. But, like, share, subscribe, and comment and bell button and all that if you want. I mean, I doubt I'll ever get to a point where I can make money off of the channel. I just don't know that I'll ever be able to produce enough content to even be able to do that. It's very difficult to do. I thought, because I posted these articles every day on social media. I used to always do that. Take all these articles and then I would do the AI voice record them, or just grab the hyperlink to the article and post them on other forms of social media to try to encourage people to read the news instead of getting it from social media. But people rarely did, and sometimes people would. So I thought, well, I do this every day anyway. I might as well just do it on my YouTube channel. I mean, now I'm seeing there is a difference. The amount of work that goes into doing the live streams, the nerve damage and atrophy I have, it's much more exhausting and harder to do. It's not something I can do every day. It's a lot easier to just copy paste news articles and paste them onto a social media account and yell at people, read this. Yeah. But if you watched it, thank you. Be good and kind to each other. Peace and love. Be open-minded. Don't be a judgmental prick. Try to be understanding. Empathy and sympathy is not a bad thing. They're really good things. They're actually one of the reasons we still exist as a species. Human beings are capable of cooperative survival, and cooperative survival is very, very important to our survival. It's the type of creature that we are. So, yeah. I don't really have an outro plan. No, that's not very good. Bad form. Bad jinx. Bad jinx. That's okay. I can get one. There you go. I'm out.